And let's just start at the beginning a little bit. For people that don't know who you are, let's talk a little bit about, I guess we'll talk about Katy, Texas, and at the same time also include Ecuador and Colombia, about your childhood.
Absolutely. Well, like you said, I grew up in Katy, Texas. I had 6 generations of Texan flowing through me, my dad's side of the family. And my dad was in the oil and gas industry our whole lives. So when you hear the things about Ecuador and Colombia and even Egypt and Scotland, those are all the places we lived over the years because of his career. Everybody and anybody in the oil and gas industry in Texas knows that. It's a pretty common theme. I like to talk about some of the challenges that I went through from an early age, and what drove me, or maybe drove my that mental capacity that you need to become a SEAL. And that started with my mother. And my mother got diagnosed with breast cancer when I was 5 years old, and she fought it hard for 5 years. And she never quit. She never complained. I never saw it. And if she did, I never saw it. And she just took care of me and my brother every day, right up until the end. And she eventually lost that battle when I was 10 years old, 1994. But she instilled in me, what I think are American and Texas values of integrity, respect, and just never quit. Never quit no matter what. And don't feel sorry for yourself, because she never did. She truly never did. And she told me before she died that I would soar to great heights. And I don't know what that meant at the time, but I think we know now. And not long after that, when I could start reading books and grab the first Navy SEAL, Dick Marcinko novel, Rogue Warrior. Your book wasn't out yet, Jocko. Otherwise, maybe I would.
Yeah, Rogue Warrior. That came out when I was already in.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it came out right as I showed up at the teams. I'm pretty sure that's right when it came out, and obviously it created some turmoil in the teams. But it was pretty interesting, especially because I knew guys that had worked for Dick Marcinko,
really?
And that was pretty interesting to talk to them. And to be totally frank with you, most of the guys that worked for Dick Marcinko loved him. And as a matter of fact, a couple of the guys that I respect, there's one guy, as a matter of fact, that I work for, and this was a couple of years later. As a matter of fact, it was around 1994, because I was in a SEAL platoon, and I was talking to this guy that had worked for Dick Marcinko, and I said, hey, how was Dick Marcinko? How was it to work for him? And he looked at me and said, best CO ever.
Yeah.
And this was from a guy that I have utmost respect for. So I thought that was pretty cool. Even though, his book, the book I'd say it's a Hollywood-ish book.
Yeah.
And the statement in there that everyone always laughs about in the teams is the statement that every SEAL on his team could bench press 500 pounds.
Right. The number keeps growing.
We're not even going to make it realistic. We're not going to make it realistic. Yeah. We're just going straight to 500 pound everyone on the team.
Right.
And that's just patently untrue. And what sucks is when you do that with that thing, well, then people start looking at the book and going, well, what is true and what is not?
Right.
And although from the way it's been described to me, the events in that book, a lot of them are compiled. Mm-hmm. So like this little thing happened on a training event, and this thing happened on a training event, and this thing happened on a training event, but they'd all be compiled into one big story. And
right.
So it's kind of like a Hollywood book.
It's a nonfiction-ish story.
But 10-year-old Dan Crenshaw didn't know that. He was like, I'm going to bench 500 pounds.
No problem.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here without that series of books. Frankly, I'd probably still have 2 eyes, but nobody needs 2 eyes. That's a luxury.
Yeah,
and, we'll get to that in a little bit. So yeah, I mean that once that and this, most SEALs operate this way, or at least they have this same story of it was just from a young age. I had a mission. I knew what it was, and every decision I made from then until the moment I got into Buds was just to prepare for that.
Now, I know you lived overseas. Where did you go to high school?
So I did most of high school in Colombia.
Okay.
Yeah. And
so did you play sports down there?
I played soccer.
Okay,
Yeah.
because you were in Colombia.
Yeah,
So you're going to play soccer.
Kind of like what they had.
You're going to play soccer or soccer?
It was that or volleyball. And, I was not going to play volleyball.
And then you applied from college from Columbia?
Yeah. Yeah.
And okay, this is kind of an important question because a lot of people ask me this question all the time. You were definitely wanted to be a SEAL.